Without question, the single greatest threat to your having a fulfilling and joyous life is the relational brokenness of your generation and of this world that we're living in. And today's speaker, along with his wife and his family, through his books and through his speaking at conferences and churches all across the country, to groups like NFL coaches and players and owners, to the PGA Tour, to soldiers in Iraq, he has done perhaps as much, if not more, than anybody else in the country today to get you to look inside your heart and to understand why you are the way you are, why you live relationally the way you do, and what you need to become the person that God would have you to become, and to have the joy that should be encapsulated in living together. So with no further ado, welcome Emerson Eggerichs.
Thank you, John. I love the way he captures things. That meant a lot to me. Thank you. Appreciate that, Johnny. And he loves and respects you all, and he's praying for you, and what a joy to be here again. Well, did you enjoy my daughter, Joy, on Wednesday? Well, we're very excited because as a father and daughter, we made a special project called the Illumination Project. That, in fact, we made a trailer, and you are the first to see it. And we want you to know what it is that we're seeking to do, and then Joy is going to join me briefly. But would you view this trailer on something that we're very excited about? Hit it.
I'm sure none of you have ever asked the question, why are women crazy? Or why are all guys jerks? Or why did I even get married? I'm not even happy anymore. Or why would I get married? Look at my parents' marriage. Or why haven't I been on a date in over a decade? I'm sure you haven't asked any of those questions, but I'm sure you are asking questions just like me. And the thing that's difficult about our generation is we live in a time and space where it is so difficult to pause and think about what the answers may be and to filter out all of the noise that we hear. That's why I'm so excited to tell you about the Illumination Project. It's a 6-week series that I shot here in my city of Portland with my father, Emerson Eggerichs, where we're having a conversation in front of a live audience of over 1,000 people, sharing just our own journey with relationships. We had a conversation about God and relationships and singleness and dating and marriage, and I asked him all the tough questions. He and I share our stories of woundedness, of my broken relationships, the things that he saw in his parents' marriage, and together we've created something that I think will be revolutionary for our generation.
So their dynamic of being father and daughter was, it was beautiful because they made it casual and it was funny, and I think that Joy was able to draw out of her dad things that maybe wouldn't come out if he was speaking alone.
Okay, here we go. Not only was it shot here in my city of Portland, but involved my artist friends who contributed pieces that they created or wrote for the Illumination Project, reflecting their own illumination type moments. So it's going to be this intergenerational, interseasonal type conversation that I don't think has been done before. I'm super excited about the uniqueness of this and the sense of how the conversations are going to happen with young and old people. It's not going to answer all the questions that you have, but hopefully it will start to shed some light on the questions that you've been asking and hopefully give you eventually an illumination.
As you hear them speak, they are, like Dr. Emerson says, wounded healers. He's been through a lot just in his family of origin, and Joy has had her struggles with relationships.
I really think that this speaks into the generation, all these younger generations, that there's such a dynamic of hope.
They need to find out, they need to hear this message, because it is a message that's going to help all of us be more successful in our relationships.
We have a platform where we can go and ask the right questions and have some sort of relief, because I don't know how men think, and men will never know how women think.
Hello. Is this on? Good morning, guys. You have made me feel so loved here, and I just feel like I love my college, but your gym, I went to a spin class yesterday morning, and I was like, this is incredible. My college gym was like the size of a closet, so You guys go to an awesome school, and I'm so excited to share this with you guys because I feel like you are a group of leaders, and it is my heart to see, like I said, the intergenerational conversation happen. And I think so much in the church we've kind of segregated into groups. And I would love, if you guys want to start having these conversations about relationships and marriage and singleness, for you guys to take the lead and find older people like him, and and just say, hey, would you go through this 6-week video series with us? It's going to be packaged. There's going to be workbooks and fun games to play, and it'll be cool. It's not cheesy, hopefully. But it comes out this fall, and I would just love for you to encourage your peers to do it with you, and peers that are in different seasons. So people who are single, people who are dating, people who are young and married, and then getting those older people as well. I just think that will propel us all learning from one another, no matter what season that we're in. So thank you guys for having me here on Wednesday, and I'm so excited for you to hear from my father. I feel like outside of my mom, there's nobody really that has more credibility than me to say that this man is truly the real deal. So please listen up. He's very wise.
Thank you. And she works for me, and she's not getting a raise, even though she said that. So you forgot to put. I was going to say, don't you need to put up something?
Did they put the thing up? I totally blanked. Do you guys have the screen? The way I want you guys to get involved. There you go. If you could pull out your phones really quick. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
And text this number that I swear, if you have a propensity to number dyslexia like I do, it's really bad. It's like 760-670-3130. And don't put like 1, 2, 3. Just put LRN, and then your name and your email, and then we can stay connected. So some of you don't have your phones out right now. Come on, guys, please. All right, now I'll let him talk. Bye.
Very good. Thank you. No, we're excited about this, and we really do see this as an opportunity for a dad and a daughter to communicate, and it is a very fun project, and we're thrilled with it, and so please consider this. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a conflict with someone when suddenly the issue didn't seem to be the issue? What is the issue when the issue isn't the issue? I'm going to share with you, I believe one thing is going on in the heart of a woman and one thing is going on in the heart of a man, and they're not the same. That may be a presumptuous declaration, but let's see if I can persuade you. And when that issue isn't the issue, you see their spirit deflate. And you want to say, what? What? Oh, what? Now what? What? What did I say? Have you had that moment where suddenly it's like, good grief, what? And when Sarah and I were first married, we went home to visit my parents. Both of us went to Wheaton College, and so it's in the Chicago area, and my parents lived in Peoria, and so we went south to Peoria and for a weekend, and I was wearing contacts at that time, and I forgot my contact lens case. And I thought, oh, great. So I improvised. I got 2 juice glasses, and I put water in both of them and took the contacts out and put them in the juice glasses and put them on the back of the toilet and went to bed, right? I get up in the morning to put the contacts back in and put the one in, and the glass is almost empty, and I'm looking for the contact. I can't find it anywhere, and I finally said, Sarah, did you do anything with the juice glasses in the bathroom here? And she said, no. Oh. In the middle of the night, I got up and took a pill, and I drank out of one of those glasses. She drank my contact. I couldn't believe it. My mom and dad are standing there, and you drank my contact. I can't believe that you drank my contact out of a juice glass. Well, I can't believe that you'd put your contact in a juice glass on the back of a toilet. I said, well, I can't believe you'd drink out of a juice glass on the back of a toilet. Then my dad inserts, hey, I know how we can retrieve this. Thanks, Dad. So Sarah and I, it got crazy. And at a certain point, my anger toward her spirit deflated. Why? Because the issue was no longer the contact lens that she swallowed. What was the issue if the issue wasn't the contact lens? I'm going to share that with you in a moment, my conjecture, my speculation, my position. Fast forward, it's Christmas. We are in Peoria again. Sarah's a farm girl from Indiana, Boone County. She was Miss Congeniality of Boone County. She does it all. She 4-H thing. I mean, she sews, she cooks. I mean, you know, she'd bring in the cattle if she had to. So the point was, she grew up in that, and she was so excited because she made me a jean jacket. And this was that special Christmas gift that she was going to give to me last. She was so excited about it. And so that moment came after we'd opened up all our presents, her last gift, that special gift, and she hands me this box. I don't know what it is. I open it up, and it's a jean jacket. And I put it on, and I say, thank you. And I'm just, you know, having it on and different things. She said, you don't like it. I said, I do like it. She said, you don't like it. I said, Sarah, I like this jean jacket. You don't like it. I said, I like this jean jacket. You don't like it. I said, why are you saying that I don't like this? Because in our family, when we really like something, we go, thank you, 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 thank you. And I said, in our family, we say thank you. At a certain point, my spirit deflated. Why? Because at a certain juncture, the issue wasn't the jean jacket. What was the issue if the issue wasn't the jean jacket? There was something going in me, and we weren't totally in tune with that as newlyweds. Now I look back on these episodes and realize it got crazy because at a certain point I just kind of stonewalled and shut down. I believe that there's usually one thing at a moment like that in a woman, one thing in him. And I want to share that with you because I'm very burdened. I'm very burdened for you. Joy and I are. Sarah and I are very burdened. And Sarah and I come out of a family of origin. I shared with you a year ago, February, my dad attempted to strangle my mother to death. Then he committed adultery. Both of them found Christ 2 years after I found Christ, and their lives changed. But there's a woundedness. I was sent to a military school for 5 years, from 8th grade to 12th grade. I found Christ there at age 16. And so we didn't have a church background. Sarah, there are 18 people in an extended family. There are 26 divorces among those 18 people. We feel this burden deeply, and we don't want you to be a statistic, and we don't believe that relationships are that complex. God didn't intend for it to be that complex. It doesn't mean that everything is easy, but it doesn't mean that it has to be confusing. And so one of the challenges is try to figure out, well, is it true that in many of these cases, it's just kind of one thing? And if we kind of figure out that one thing, that we could actually maybe have a meaningful friendship for a long time until death do us part? But what is that one thing in her and in him? The University of Washington studied 2,000 couples for 20 years. I have my PhD in family studies, and so I always love to read the research that's out there. And they studied 2,000 couples for 20 years in their love laboratory. And they said, we now know the two key ingredients for successful marriages: love and respect. Wow. And the reason that's so important is because many of us have sex issues, money issues, in-law issues, child-rearing issues. There will be a plethora of issues that are real. But here's the thing that happens. When we get into those tense moments where we're discussing money or sex, and he says, what'd you do with that $500? And at a certain point, her spirit deflates, and he thinks it's because they have money problems that she walked off on him. No, it was his unloving, negative attitude that deflated her spirit. Or, you know, maybe they're going to a conference or whatever, and the children are staying with the grandparents, and he says, can we be sexually intimate tonight? She says, is that all you ever think about, you animal, is sex? Is that all you ever think about? And his spirit deflates, and she thinks they've got sex problems, when the truth is, he's not designed by God to be around a negative, contemptuous, disrespectful statement. Now, the University of Washington said that love and respect are the two key ingredients. And if love and respect are present, the marriage succeeds. If they are not present, they don't deceive. In other words, when we bring hostility and contempt toward the spirit of the other person during a conflicted moment, that's what will cause their spirit to deflate, because they're too vulnerable. You cannot treat someone with hostility and contempt and expect them to keep their spirit open to you. But what happens is we think the topic is what's causing them to shut down. It's our attitude that they're interpreting coming from our soul, and we intend to go into their soul. And I wanted to tease this out. We've surveyed 25,000 people, but we've asked 7,000 people this question. I wanted to see if there was gender specificity here. We all need love and respect equally, but the University of Washington found huge gender differences, and we ourselves have asked this question of 7,000 people. And I want you to think of your mom and dad as well. Some of you are not in relationships, but once you get into a relationship, you will probably find these things to be the case. And I want to serve you with this so that you don't go through the confusion and the heartache, and you don't have to. And some of you can tie into this information with your mom and dad, and you see why their spirits deflate, why your mom deflates, why your dad deflates, why they do what they do. This can explain a ton of information. But we asked 7,000 people this question. When you're in a conflict with your spouse or significant other, do you feel unloved at that moment or disrespected? 83% of the men say they feel disrespected. 72% of the women say they feel unloved. That is as different as male is from female, as night is from day, as pink is from blue. You start at 0 and go to the ends. The statistical significance of that is mind-boggling. Shawnee Feldhahn has done a lot of research, and she asked 400 American males, cross-sampling decision analysts out of Houston does this, would you men rather be left alone and unloved in the world or viewed as inadequate and disrespected by everyone? Again, would you men rather be left alone and unloved in the world or viewed as inadequate and disrespected by everyone? 80% of the men said they'd rather be left alone and unloved in the world. Men cannot handle the idea that you view them as inadequate and have disrespect for who they are as a human being. No husband, for instance, feels fond feelings of love and affection in his heart toward a wife he thinks despises who he is as a human being. And so we all need love and respect equally. Very important. Women need R-E-S-P-E-C-T. And men need L-O-V-E. That is a true need across the board. But the felt need during conflict differs. Not one of the least of reasons that we'll explain in just a moment is that women love. It's something within their nature nurtures. They love to love at the level of intimacy. You have to wound a woman at the level of intimacy to get her to stop loving. That's what happened to my mom. She shut down, she was wounded, she pulled back. But women are driven to connect. They confront to connect. They don't confront to control. They move toward, they love. So most men in a relationship, they've been in that, don't doubt her love. It can be offensive to her character to claim that you feel unloved by her. But you're not sure that she likes you. Your dad knew that your mother loved him, unless she said, I don't love you. But he didn't think she liked him. Women, on the other hand, begin to wonder, do you really love me as much as I love you? And there's a dynamic that sets in. But the University of Washington found these huge male and female differences during these conflicted, tense moments. Did you know that 85% of those who stonewall and withdraw during conflict in a marriage is the husband? 85% stonewall and withdraw at a certain point. Drop it, forget it. What they discovered is during these moments where there is this tension, what I call heated fellowship, the man is reacting differently than she is. In fact, they measured when his heartbeats get to 99 beats per minute, and it would get to that, he's in warrior mode. So there's either fight or flight. So he has to do what is honorable, and that's withdraw, to calm down. That's why you heard your dad say, I just got to calm down, or leave me alone, or drop it, forget it. Why? That's the honorable thing to do. But in the area of intimacy, it's labeled unloving, because the woman couldn't imagine doing that. In fact, the women in this research were asked, when your husband stonewalls and withdraw, what does it feel like to you? An act of hostility. She could not imagine withdrawing over such a little thing. Act of hostility, opposite of love. But they also looked at what the women were doing, and with political correctness aside, these laboratories, clinical observations, they said the women criticize and complain. Men stonewall and withdraw, women criticize, complain, criticize, complain, criticize, complain. Now, why would she do that? Because as I pointed out, she moves toward him to confront, trying to resolve, trying to reconcile. She wants to say, I'm sorry, hopes he says he's sorry. Will you forgive me? Yes, will you forgive me? And then she's good to go again. They call this the ocean of emotion for women, and they're very comfortable in the ocean of emotion. They do this dance very well. But she expects him to be able to discern this. But what they discovered is that ongoing criticism, day after day, month after month, is eventually interpreted by the man as contempt for who he is as a human being. So she seeks to do the loving thing only to be interpreted as disrespectful. He seeks to do the honorable thing only to be interpreted as unloving. And it gets crazy. And what we discovered in the book I wrote, Love and Respect, there's a correlation that when a wife feels unloved, she tends to react in a way that feels disrespectful to her husband. And when a husband feels disrespected, he tends to react in a way that feels unloving to his wife. And then without love, she reacts without respect. Without respect, he reacts without love. Without love, she reacts without respect. Without respect, and this baby spins, and it's spinning out of control among good-willed people. And Paul says in 1 Corinthians 7, 33 and 34, the husband is concerned about how to please his wife. The wife is concerned about how to please her husband. He penned the greatest treatise on total depravity in the book of Romans. But he appeals to husbands and wives to recognize they're created in the image of God. Give your spouse the benefit of the doubt. Your wife doesn't get up early in the morning thinking of ways to dish you. Your husband doesn't get up early in the morning to think of ways to be unloving. He's concerned about how to please you. She's concerned about how to please you. Will you trust their goodwill or conclude you married Hitler's distant cousin? So what happens is this thing starts spinning out of control. And I call that the crazy cycle. And so that day when Sarah swallowed my contact, I reacted. But I ended up reacting in a way that felt very unloving to her. And she deflated. When she said I didn't really appreciate the jean jacket, I reacted. Why? Because I felt like she was calling into question my integrity. And I felt disrespected. I didn't feel unloved. Now, let me insert here. Don't women need R-E-S-P-E-C-T? Absolutely. But if women at the level of intimacy, we're not talking about the business arena where it's a respect culture, we're talking about when you are romantically involved with one person, primarily here. You see, the card industry understands there's not one card from a husband to a wife that says, baby, I really respect you. It's love. They've tried it. They know Aretha's song. By the way, do you know who wrote R-E-S-P-E-C-T? Otis Redding. In 1965, it was released from him to his wife as a single in 1965. But there was this young woman coming along, Aretha Franklin, that became the soul queen, and they said, that has a rhythm we like. Let's make it fit her. So the one song we had, men, they took. But here's the deal. If you show disrespect to a woman week after week, disrespect, 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 she'll finally say, how can you treat me disrespectfully and say that you love me? You don't even love me. She'll land on love. You show disrespect to a man week after week, disrespect, 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 disrespect. He'll say, I don't deserve this disrespect. Everybody respects me but you. What happens in these situations is that the man and woman filter this situation differently. And we shouldn't be surprised. Jesus said in Matthew 19, have you not read who made them from the beginning, made them male and female? I liken the fact that God created women to look at the world through pink sunglasses, and it colors what she sees. She speaks through a pink megaphone, and she expects everybody to know what she means by what she says. She has pink hearing aids, and it affects what she hears. He has blue sunglasses, blue hearing aids, blue megaphone. Not wrong, we're just different. So she says, I have nothing to wear. What she means is she has nothing new. Her husband says, I have nothing to wear. What he means is he has nothing clean. Here's the deal. Not wrong, just different. Not wrong, just different. And we've made a big mistake in this culture when we say that because we're equal, we're the same. We're equal, but we're not the same. There's an XX chromosome and there's an XY chromosome, and there is a difference. Jesus said, have you not read who made them from the beginning, made them male and female? And when you put pink and blue together, it forms the color purple, the color of royalty. Husband and wife together reflect the image of God. The gift of celibacy is given to a person to be one who can reflect the image of God apart from marriage. If you don't have that gift, then husband and wife together, pink and blue together, reflect his image. We reflect his character. We reflect his nature. It's a word picture that's very powerful. Pink's not wrong for not being blue. Blue's not wrong for not being pink. We're just different. But what happens during these conflicted moments, he interprets things through the respect grid that a woman doesn't. And she interprets things through the love grid that he doesn't. So what happens is we end up passing judgment on the other person based on the natural strengths that God gave to us in the face of the vulnerability he allowed that other person to have. And I'm sure you've seen your mom and dad do this. Your mom has vulnerabilities where your dad doesn't. Your dad has vulnerabilities where your mom doesn't. And the question is, will we come to a point where we give grace and empathy to the other person, or do we pass judgment and say, I can't believe that you would deflate over this? Good grief, grow up, you're so childish. And this is the challenge for us as we think about this, because what happens, and here's the deal, without love, defensively, she reacts offensively without respect. And without respect, defensively, he reacts offensively without love. We are insecure people. I'm insecure with Sarah. She's insecure with me at times. She has vulnerabilities. I have vulnerabilities. So we defensively react when we feel unloved or disrespected. And a lot of times we know we shouldn't feel unloved or disrespected, but there's this involuntary emotion at times, and so now we're in a defensive mode. But if we're not careful, we end up reacting in a way that offends the other person. You know, I need respect like I need air to breathe, and I have this respect tank connected by an air hose, but Sarah can step on the air hose. She has a love tank connected by this air hose, and I can step on that air hose and she deflates. But when we get stepped on, we have a tendency to react and push the other person off and then stomp on their air hose. And we don't understand that our defensive reactions offend, and we can't believe it. Because a lot of times the wife is feeling unloved in the first place, so she seeks to do the loving thing by moving toward him to confront and appears critical and even complaining, only to hear that she's the most disrespectful person he's ever met, and she feels even more unloved. And when she experiences that and talks with her girlfriend, she knows she's right about what she felt. He was unloving. I try to do the loving thing. He tells me I'm disrespectful. What planet is he from? And I feel even more unloved. He, on the other hand, is feeling disrespected. Something was said. It was a put down. So he seeks to do the honorable thing by withdrawing because his heartbeats are at 99 beats per minute. And so the honorable thing is to calm himself down, only to hear that he's the most unloving person around, and he feels even more disrespected. And now we have two good-willed people who have 4 levels of justification for why they're right. And you come into a relationship with that perspective, and a pink perspective is right. You're not wrong. See, one of the problems we have is that we think if I'm right, the other person has to be wrong. Not in the preference gray areas. Unless there's an intrinsic evil, you're both right. And the mature couple comes to a point where they don't dismiss the other person, even though they don't feel that way. They empathize, but they begin to deal with this issue. Even though it's not comfortable, they don't pass judgment on the other person as childish. Not too long ago, Sarah chased me around the house with my book, Love and Respect. She had it up in the air, and she was saying, "What would you say to a husband who was treating his wife the way you're treating me right now?" What do you do at a moment like that? That becomes very picturesque because Paul says in 1 Corinthians 7:28, if you marry, you have not sinned, but you will have trouble. We're going to have to decide whether we're going to live by the holy word or by Hollywood. It's what I call the 80-20 rule applied to marriage. 20% of your time is going to be moments of trouble. And that's okay. You can have an 80% wonderful friendship. But if you have a Hollywood view that's 99% and you experience an 80%, that 19% discrepancy is going to disillusion you and embitter you. And then a little leaven leavens the whole. And now the wonderful friendship you could have 80% of the time is being adversely affected by the way you've poisoned it. See, sailors prepare for the storm prior to the storm, and then they go out in the open sea and they're relaxed. They don't jump ship when the storm comes, because you know when you're on the open sea, you're going to have a storm. What would we think about the sailors that are jumping ship? Good grief, there goes 14 guys over. Why? Well, there was a storm. What? You don't jump ship when there's a storm. When you get married, you're going to have storms. Are you going to jump ship? Because you're having troubles when 1 Corinthians 7:28 says you will have trouble, you're in the center of God's will, you have not made a mistake, and when you have these crazy cycle moments where you're beginning to feel unloved and told you're disrespectful when you're just trying to do the loving thing, or you're feeling disrespected, so you do the honorable thing only to be accused of being unloving and feel even more disrespected, how are you going to deal with it? Are you going to divorce? And the cause of Christ at the local church level is disgraced Or will we do it differently? Some said they are not going to defend Marriage Act, DOMA. They're not going to defend it because they don't see anything to defend. But you have a moment. We have a moment where by your relationship, people will hear the melody and then they'll meet with you and ask you to explain to them the words. But Jesus Christ said, when the Son of Man returns, will he find faith on earth? Here's the deal. When Sarah and I get in those crazy cycle moments, when she's holding my book up, will I say to her, quit feeling so unloved and quit being so disrespectful? No, no, no. You quit feeling so disrespected and you quit being so unloving. That's a wonderful way to deal with a conflict. But I'm going to tell you it won't work. Or will I give my wife the benefit of the doubt and trust that at the end of the day, she's not trying to be disrespectful, but is seeking reassurance that I love her? And at the end of the day, will she give me the benefit of the doubt that he's not trying to be unloving, but I probably said or did something to him that felt disrespectful? Because I've said to Sarah, I love you so much I would die for you. She says, you keep saying that, but you never do.